Hello students, in the previous videos we have studied kinematics of particles under unit number 5. In this unit, that is unit 6, we are going to study kinetics of particles. Now first let us understand what is the difference between the kinematics and kinetics. Kinematics is the branch of dynamics which deals with the study of motion of bodies without considering the forces causing the motion. So in kinematics, we are not interested in why the body is moving. We are interested only how the body is moving, right? Whereas in kinetics, while studying the motion of the body, if you consider the forces also, the forces which are responsible for the motion of the body also, then it becomes kinetics, right? So in kinematics, we are going to deal with the motion quantities, motion parameters like displacement, velocity, acceleration and time. Whereas in kinetics, we are going to deal with the displacement, velocity, acceleration, time and force. Simply, while studying the motion of the body, if you neglect the mass of the body, if no external forces are acting, then while studying the motion, if you neglect the mass of the body, it comes under kinematics. And if you consider the mass of the body, then it comes under kinetics, right? You are considering the mass of the body, that means we are considering the gravitational force, right? That is kinetics. Okay, so in kinetics of particles, we are studying here, remember, only the kinetics of particles, not bodies. We are neglecting the size of the body. We are treating that body as a point mass, right? So particles undergo only translation. There is no rotation as such. Okay. So in kinetics of particles, there are 3 chapters: Newton's second law of motion, work energy principle and direct central impact. So in direct central impact, there is impulse momentum principle. So this work energy principle and impulse momentum principle are the applications of Newton's second law. So in this video, we are going to learn in detail what is Newton's second law of motion. Okay. So in this chapter, Newton's second law of motion, so we are going to cover these concepts. What is momentum, Newton's second law, what is dynamic equilibrium and D'Alembert's principle, and what is D'Alembert's force, right? So what is momentum? If a body is moving with certain velocity, then the product of the mass of the body and the velocity with which it is moving is known as the momentum of the body, the momentum possessed by the body. Actually, the momentum it defines the quantity of motion produced by the body. So there are 2 types of momentum. Linear momentum and angular momentum. So linear momentum is the mass of the body, product of the mass of the body and the linear velocity. Whereas angular momentum is the product of mass of the body and the angular velocity, right? As we are studying the kinetics of particles, this rotation of the body, angular momentum will not come into picture. It will not come in our discussion, right? So we are going to deal with only linear momentum. So it is the mass into linear velocity. So what is the unit of linear momentum? Mass in kg, velocity in meters per second. So it is kg meters per second. Okay. Now, Newton's second law. So, as per Newton's second law of motion, the rate of change of momentum is directly proportional to the force. So, rate of change of momentum means it is mass into velocity. So, rate of change of momentum d by dt of mv is equal to the proportionality constant into force. So, which force is this? It is the resultant force or unbalanced force acting on the body. So, here mass of the body is constant. So, it is m into dv by dt is equal to k into f. So, what is dv by dt? Rate of change of velocity with respect to time, acceleration, is equal to k into f, where k is the proportionality constant. Now, you tell me, what is the definition of Newton? How you define 1 Newton force? So, it is the force required to produce an acceleration of 1 meter per second square on a body of mass 1 kg. The force required to produce 1 meter per second square acceleration on a body of mass 1 kg is known as 1 Newton, right? So, here acceleration is 1 meter per second square, mass of the body is 1 kg, then the force is 1 Newton. So, putting the values of A, M and F as 1, you will get K is equal to 1. Therefore, F is equal to ma, known as Newton's second law of motion. The unbalanced force or the resultant force of the system is equal to the mass of the body into the acceleration with which it is moving. F is equal to ma is known as Newton's second law. Understood? Now let us see what is dynamic equilibrium. Before that, you should know what is equilibrium. So what do you mean by equilibrium? When the body or the given force system is said to be in equilibrium. If the resultant of the force system is equal to 0, then that system is said to be in simply equilibrium. The resultant is equal to 0, right? Now what is resultant? How do you define resultant? So resultant can be defined as it is a net force or net moment of all the forces or moments acting on the system. So the resultant can be a force or it can be a moment. So the algebraic sum of all the forces acting on the system is nothing but the resultant force or the net force. And the algebraic sum of the moments of all forces acting in the system about any point is the net moment or resultant moment of the system. So resultant can be a resultant force or it can be a resultant moment. When I am saying resultant is 0, it implies that the resultant force is 0 and the resultant moment is 0. Is it clear? Suppose if you consider a system in which only moments or couples are acting, then what is the resultant force of that system? It is 0, because the resultant force of each couple is 0. Only couples are acting in the system. The resultant force of each couple is 0. Hence, the resultant force of the entire system is 0. That doesn't mean that it is in equilibrium. Is it clear? So, those couples will have a resultant couple or resultant moment. So, when I am saying system is in equilibrium, that means resultant is 0, which means that resultant force and the resultant moment both are 0. When the resultant force is 0, you can say that there is no translation. When the resultant moment is 0, then it is known as there is no rotation. Then the system is said to be in complete static equilibrium. No translation, no rotation. As we are studying motion of particles, only this resultant force is applicable for us. There is no resultant moment or rotation. Understood? There are two types of equilibrium: static equilibrium and dynamic equilibrium. So static equilibrium is the equilibrium. It is the condition or the state of the body in which the resultant is 0 but the body is at rest. Whereas in dynamic equilibrium, the resultant is 0 but the body is in motion. Body is in motion but the resultant force acting on the body is 0. Then we can say that the body is in equilibrium. Being it is moving, it is a case of dynamic equilibrium. Is it clear? So let us consider one example, that a body of mass m is moving with constant velocity. It is moving with constant velocity. When I am saying velocity of the body is constant, the acceleration, which is the rate of change of velocity with respect to time, is 0. So the acceleration of this body is 0. But as per Newton's second law of motion, we have seen that the unbalanced or resultant force acting on the system or body is equal to m into a. As acceleration is 0, the unbalanced or the resultant force acting on the body is 0. The moment the resultant force is 0, we can say that the body is in equilibrium, but it is moving. It is a case of dynamic equilibrium. Understood? Now, what is D'Alembert's principle? As per Newton's second law, we know that F is equal to m into a. This we can write F minus ma is equal to 0, or F plus of minus ma is equal to 0. This expression is known as D'Alembert's principle. Whereas this F is equal to ma is Newton's second law of motion. Now say, let us consider a body of mass m, and the number of forces are acting on this body. The resultant of all these forces is acting in this direction. Let us assume that F is the resultant of these 4 forces. Then this body will tend to move in the direction of the resultant force with an acceleration a. Right? As per Newton's second law, the resultant force or unbalanced force is equal to mass into acceleration of the body. Now, for this system, I am applying an imaginary force in the direction opposite to the direction of acceleration, whose magnitude is m into a. So, for the given system, I am applying an additional force, an imaginary force, in the opposite direction of acceleration. Now, what is the resultant of this system after applying this m into a in the opposite direction of acceleration? So the resultant force of this system is equal to, say this is F, which is acting towards right. If you take this is positive, and m into a, which is acting in the negative direction, opposite direction, so it is minus ma. But as per Newton's second law, F is equal to m into a minus ma, which is equal to 0. Means the resultant force of this system is becoming 0. The moment the resultant force is 0, I can say that the system is in equilibrium. But it is moving, so it is a case of dynamic equilibrium. So the D'Alembert's principle states that any moving body can be brought in dynamic equilibrium by imposing an additional force whose magnitude is equal to m into a in the direction opposite to the direction of acceleration of the body. It is not in the direction opposite to the direction of motion of the body. That additional force or imaginary force, which is also known as D'Alembert's force, is to be applied in the opposite direction of acceleration. For example, let us consider a body of mass m. It is moving towards right, but the velocity of the body is go on decreasing. That means the retardation is acting. So the acceleration of the body is in the opposite direction of motion of the body, because of which the velocity of the body is go on decreasing, right? Now to bring this body in dynamic equilibrium, you have to apply D'Alembert's force in which direction? Not in the opposite direction of motion of the body. It is in the opposite direction of acceleration of the body. So here acceleration is acting towards left. So I am applying that D'Alembert's force, imaginary force, in the opposite direction of acceleration, means in the direction of motion of the body. Then this body will be in equilibrium, dynamic equilibrium. So here the point to be noted: any moving body can be brought in dynamic equilibrium by imposing an imaginary force whose magnitude is m into a in the direction opposite to the direction of acceleration of the body. That is D'Alembert's principle. And that imaginary force which we are applying in the opposite direction of acceleration is known as D'Alembert's force. What is the magnitude of D'Alembert's force? It is mass into acceleration. What is the direction of D'Alembert's force? It is opposite to the direction of acceleration of the body. This D'Alembert's force is imaginary force, pseudo force. It is also known as inertia force. Understood? So you can solve the problems in two ways. One is, first draw free body diagram. You show all the forces acting on it and find out the resultant force and equate that resultant force to m into a, mass into acceleration, as per Newton's second law, from which you can find out the acceleration. The second way is, draw free body diagram, show all the forces acting on it. Now you impose an imaginary force, additional force, in the opposite direction of acceleration of the body. Then write down the equilibrium equation. Because the moment you are applying that imaginary force in the opposite direction of acceleration, that system is coming under equilibrium, dynamic equilibrium. So we can write equations of equilibrium. Understood? Suppose if the body is moving along a curved path, if the body is moving along a curved path, so the mass of the body is m. To bring this body in dynamic equilibrium, here you need to apply two D'Alembert's forces. See, as it is moving along a curved path, it will have tangential acceleration component in tangential direction, and the normal component of acceleration, which is directed towards the center of curvature. So you have to apply now the D'Alembert's forces opposite to AT, magnitude is MAT, and opposite to AN, that is MAN, m into v square by rho. Then this body will be in equilibrium, and you can write equations of equilibrium. Or if you know the resultant acceleration, say A, then you have to apply only one D'Alembert's force, that is opposite to A, magnitude is m into A, right? So this mv square by rho, MAN, is known as centripetal force. Is it clear? So the concept will be more clear while solving problems. So in the next video, we are going to solve some numerical examples on the Newton's second law. Right? Thank you.